Now, Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina is currently on a 4-day state visit to India, her first visit since the start of the pandemic. Sheikh Hasina is also set to meet India's top leadership today to further cement the multi-faceted relationship between both the countries. The leaders are expected to ink at least 7 bilateral agreements in areas like water management, railway and science and technology. Her meeting with Prime Minister Modi will also focus on issues like defence cooperation, expansion of regional connectivity and trade and energy sectors. The Bangladesh Prime Minister will also meet Indian President Rashtrapati Murmu and Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar later today. This is her first visit to India in nearly 3 years. She last visited in 2019 before the COVID-19 pandemic. Sheikh Hasina landed in Delhi yesterday afternoon, is being accompanied by a big delegation which includes top ministers, secretaries, senior government officials. She met India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on Monday to discuss issues concerning both the nations. Sheikh Hasina also visited Delhi's Hazrat Nizamuddin Dargah, a place she used to visit when she stayed in the city from 1975 to 81. The South Asian nation of Bangladesh is an important partner for India under its Neighbourhood First policy, and the cooperation extends to several areas including that of security, trade and commerce. Bangladesh is currently India's third trade partner in whole of South Asia region. It's the biggest trade partner, and bilateral trade has grown from nearly $9 billion to now almost $18 billion in the last 5 years. Now, these are the live visuals coming in. You can see there Prime Minister Narendra Modi. As you know, Sheikh Hasina is in New Delhi for a 4-day trip and is all set to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi in a short while from now to discuss issues related to trade, connectivity and defence. Now, within hours of arriving in New Delhi yesterday, Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina met External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and discussed issues of bilateral interest and importance. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina is currently, as I mentioned, on a 4-day state visit to India, her very first since the start of the pandemic, and is all set to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi today. There you can see the visuals coming in on your screens right now. Prime Minister Narendra Modi there and Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. They are at the Rashtrapati Bhavan currently. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina is to meet India's top leadership today to further cement the multifaceted relationship between both the countries. The leaders are also expected to ink at least 7 bilateral agreements in areas like water management, railway, science, technology. Her meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, you can see these visuals live coming in on your screens right now, will focus on issues like defence cooperation, expansion of regional connectivity, trade and energy sectors. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, currently on a visit, 4-day visit to India, is currently at the Rashtrapati Bhavan and is all set to meet India's top leadership today, also to have a bilateral with Prime Minister Narendra Modi to further cement the multifaceted relationship between both the countries. The leaders are expected to ink at least 7 bilateral agreements in areas like I mentioned, such as water management, railway, science, technology. In a meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi in a short while from now, they will focus on issues like defence cooperation, expansion of regional connectivity, trade and energy. There you can see the visuals coming in right now. These are the live visuals. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has arrived. It's a ceremonial reception for Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to also meet Indian President Draupadi Murmu later today. This is her first visit to India in nearly 3 years. She last visited in 2019 before the COVID-19 pandemic broke out. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina landed in Delhi yesterday afternoon and is being accompanied by a big delegation. It includes top ministers, secretaries and senior government officials. She also met India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on Monday to discuss issues concerning both the nations. Sheikh Hasina also visited Delhi's Hazrat Nizamuddin Dargah. Now, Bangladesh is an important partner for India under its Neighbourhood First policy, and the cooperation extends to several areas including that of security, trade and commerce. Bangladesh is currently India's biggest trade partner in whole of South Asia. You can see the visuals on your screens right now. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina received a ceremonial welcome at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. There she is with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Sheikh Hasina all set to meet India's top leadership. In a short while from now, she will have bilaterals to further cement the multifaceted relationship between both the countries. The leaders of both the nations are expected to ink, as I mentioned, at least 7 bilateral agreements in areas such as water management, railway, science and technology. And now with this, bilaterals are set to begin for the day.
Madam, what are your expectations from this visit? Well, you see, India is our dear friend. Whenever I come to India, it's a big pleasure for us, for me especially, because we always recall the contribution India has done during our liberation war. So we have friendly relationship and we are cooperating with each other. So our main focus is to develop our people's condition, poverty alleviation, economic emancipation. So with all these issues, I feel that our two countries, we can work together so that people, not only India, Bangladesh, and also the South Asian people, they can get better life. That is our main focus. So every visit I feel that when we discuss, we are very, I hope that it will be very fruitful discussion, and our main aim to develop economically and also fulfill the basic needs of our people, that we will be able to do. With friendship, you can solve any problem. So we always do that. So हम हमेशा आभारी हूँ भारत के और कि हमारा देश जब स्वाधीनता और किया, जब लिबरेशन वार हुआ, तो यहाँ के लोगों ने जैसा हमारा साथ थे, सपोर्ट की, और बहुत लोग उनका जितना कंट्रीब्यूशन है, हम हमेशा इसको स्वागत करती हूँ और हम रियली आभारी हूँ. सो मेरे ओर से भारतवासी को हमारा शुभेच्छा, स्वागतम. আমি একটু চেষ্টা করলাম হিন্দিতে বলতে, 6 বছর ছিলাম এখানে, একটু শিখেছি, তো সেখান থেকে একটু বললাম যে আমার তরফ থেকে আমি ভারতবাসীকে আবার শুভেচ্ছা জানাচ্ছি, শুভকামনা জানাচ্ছি, আর সেই সাথে সাথে 71 সালে ভারতবাসী যেভাবে আমাদের পাশে দাঁড়িয়েছিল এবং সব ক্ষেত্রে আমরা তাদের সহযোগিতা পেয়েছি, সেজন্য সবাইকে আন্তরিক ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি বাংলাদেশের পক্ষ থেকে, বাংলাদেশের জনগণের পক্ষ থেকে, আমার পক্ষ থেকে, আমার পরিবারের পক্ষ থেকে সবাইকে অনেক অনেক ধন্যবাদ, শুভেচ্ছা.
And that was Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina ahead of multiple bilaterals that have been planned for today. There you can see her with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. A whole day of multiple bilaterals is all set to begin now. Bangladesh Prime Minister is currently at the Rashtrapati Bhavan, where she received a ceremonial welcome. India and Bangladesh today to further cement the multifaceted relationship between both the countries. They're expected to ink bilateral agreements in areas of water management, railway, science and technology. In her meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, they are set to focus on issues of defence cooperation, expansion of regional connectivity, trade and energy. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina is also going to be visiting Indian President Rashtrapati Murmu today, later in the day. This is her first visit to India in nearly 3 years, as I mentioned. She last visited India in 2019. That was right before the COVID-19 pandemic. Sheikh Hasina landed in Delhi yesterday for her 4-day India tour and is being accompanied by a big delegation which includes top ministers, secretaries, senior government officials. She also met India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar yesterday to discuss issues concerning both the nations. Now there you have the visuals on your screens. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. We saw this a few moments ago. She's currently on a 4-day visit to India, her very first since the start of the pandemic. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has a whole day packed with multiple bilateral meetings today to discuss issues of mutual interest between both the nations and to further cement the relationship between both the countries. And for more on this, we're now being joined by our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibal. Siddhant, thank you so much for joining us. Now, what can you tell us of some of the key areas of discussions today?
Well, the key areas of discussions will be on connectivity, defense, trade. These are the key areas of discussion. I'm standing right now at India's presidential palace. That's the Rashtrapati Bhavan, where behind me is the location where the Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and the Indian Prime Minister were present, and the Bangladeshi Prime Minister spoke in 3 languages, in English, in Hindi and in Bengali. She talked about the support India has been giving to her country, and of course talked about how South Asia needs to work together. So this is essentially the start of a pretty long day today here in Delhi, where of course the talks will start at around 11 o'clock local time. Later on she will also call the president. Approximately 6 to 7 MOUs are also expected to be signed here in Delhi as key outcomes of the talks. But nonetheless, this visit is all about convergences, solidification of ties, and making sure that continuity remains in the relationship, a relationship which is being described by both India and Bangladesh as undergoing its Sonali or golden age. So a lot of things on the anvil. We know that there is the Sufi Connect as well. Yesterday she visited the Nizamuddin Dargah, and we saw at the Nizamuddin Dargah she paid her duas. In fact, yesterday evening, in response to a WION question at a reception, she was very emotional about her visit to Nizamuddin Dargah, talking about how it was in 1981 she visited the place, and from that very place she got the strength to go back to Bangladesh and fight against people who were responsible for the killing of her father.
Right, Siddhant, also just some more clarity here. Can you give us a timeline of all the meetings that have been scheduled for today?
Well, today the key focus area is on her meeting with the Indian Prime Minister at around 11 o'clock local time. Then, of course, the conversations are expected to last for 2 to 3 hours. Thereafter, we will see the press statements at Hyderabad House, where WION will be present. And later on, she will be calling the new Indian president here at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. So today is, in fact, the main day of engagement in her 4-day visit. Of course, tomorrow she will be meeting the business leaders. She will also be going to Ajmer Sharif, a place she has been in 2017, in 2009, and from Ajmer Sharif, from Jaipur, she will go back to Dhaka.
Well, Siddhant, thank you so much for joining us with all the updates. We will, of course, continue to track this very closely with you through the day. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.